we have changed legislation and made laws that make being masculine by nature illegal. Two men cannot go out and have a fist fight.
I'm sorry, you're going to have to substantiate that one. Where are the laws that has made masculinity illegal? Help me, please, sir.
Okay, because they will throw two men. Okay, perfect example is in the school system. If you fight back against your bully, you get expelled.
Dude,
if you
what? Okay, so one, this has nothing to do with laws. Two, that's how it's always been because you're retaliating, and usually the person that retaliates that gets in trouble. You can even see this happen in sports games. This has nothing to do with what you just said in legislation. Holy shit, dude.
That is just a start.
Once again, you notice how you told me that I was the one that's like crazy, but this entire conversation, you're the one who sounds insane, and I actually have like very reasonable and logical solutions to everything that you've complained about thus far? So what's up? Last discussion I had with Gomez, he was arguing with me about whether or not I'm a grifter, and basically you were in chat consistently agreeing with him.
Well, yeah, no, I did agree with most of what he was saying, absolutely. I don't necessarily think he understands the elegance of the situation. But you yourself even have admitted that, you know, you were tired of the right grift in a terminology. So you yourself understand the appearance of what it looks like since you walked away. And really, like I was telling you in the message,
when I jokingly referred to it when I was still in the right-wing grift, that was implying that I was grifting as a right-winger.
No, I know, and I agree. And I think that he didn't understand that premise, but he smelled
So
the
you
grifter.
think I was grifting? Okay, so you think I was grifting as a right-winger, and now I'm grifting as a person on the left or center or whatever?
No. More so, you were grifting the feminist thing, and that could have been something different. And I do think...
No, I really wasn't grifting. No, I was not grifting the feminist thing at all.
Okay,
I legitimately still have criticisms of, like, corporate pop feminism, and I talk about that regularly on my channel. The videos that I made when I was starting out criticizing feminism, I made those because I was literally angry about feminism. So, no, that was not me, like, grifting or anything. I didn't even have my, I didn't even have my channel monetization turned on until I had over 80,000 subscribers. I was working a minimum wage job. I wasn't even thinking about making money when I first started my YouTube channel. So, no, that's just entirely incorrect.
Let me address these things. If you'll allow me to address them, I will. You're going through a whole medley of...
Okay, let's let you can address them. Yeah, that's fine. But it just seems a little bit silly when you're trying to basically make up bullshit about my own life. But that's why. I don't know. Go ahead.
Absolutely not. Absolutely spinning what I said. Now, I talked about it as you were grifting in the sense that you saw the wave rise. Now, it's not always about money. You were a young kid who don't like popularity, who don't like fame, who don't like being validated. I did not one time say...
Can I address that really quickly?
Okay.
It is true that my content did ride a wave that was very popular at the time of criticizing feminism. That's true. But I've actually said this in other podcasts. You can literally go back and find clips where I specifically have said I wasn't even really aware that there was this massive wave. It makes sense to me now, but it wasn't like I saw it and was like, here's a perfect time for me to start making money. Like, I already had a YouTube channel, my content was getting into politics, and I started enjoying making that kind of content, and it just so happened that I started making feminist content, also because I was inspired by other anti-feminist content I'd seen, which may have been, inadvertently part of the anti-feminist wave. But no, this idea that I was, like, calculating when the wave was there so I could make the most money and get fame was just like... No, that's not what happened. Like, I just started making videos criticizing feminism because I wanted to.
No, and that's fair because it was a popular thing. And I'm not saying you necessarily sat around like some evil scientist and plotted all this crap. That's not what I'm saying at all. Give me a chance to explain it to you. Okay, so the biggest issue really is I watch you. And you know what? I was proud to see somebody in your generation stand up to the crap that was going on. So, I mean, I was proud of you, kid. I thought you was doing a fantastic job. Now, look, and I've watched your Why I Left the Right video. And you know what? It's a scary moment you were talking about, and I get it. And when you say I was a horrible monster, I understand what you're saying. Because, okay, masculinity, when it's taught without boundaries, becomes overbearing also. So, like, the bottom line is I don't necessarily knock how you did this and everything. Here's the thing. You're kind of angry. You're pretentious. You're snide.
Wait. Okay, stop, please. I need to stop you now. I need to stop you right there. You're not making the same... So, hold on, please. Stop. Because what you were just saying is first you were trying to argue that I was a grifter, and then you started saying I'm pretentious and mean or whatever. That's a different argument. Now, we can talk about what you don't like about how I handle myself in debates or whatever at a different time.
I was very clear. You grifted the wave. Stop trying to spin what I'm saying.
So do you know what a grifter is?
I absolutely know what a grifter is. I mean, we could go to Google and define it.
No. Put your hands on your head and tell me what it means.
A grifter is somebody who comes across with a false premise or principle, typically to make money, but also for political gain, also for fame, also for other things that have value that's not necessarily monetary.
Okay,
so it's not
that's pretty good. Good job. I'm proud of you, man. Good job. That was good.
I mean, look, and it's not that. I'm not even really trying to insult you. It's aggravating, and I'm one of them kind of guys from a hard knock school, so I talk a little different. I kind of like you, kid. It ain't even that I don't like you. Like I said,
but you're not making an argument as to the claim that I'm a grifter. So I was not insincere. I was not insincere. Hold on. Can I just?
Point so we get right to it.
Okay. Make your point. Go ahead.
You got scared. I mean, you sat there. I watched you. You got scared. You're from a fear-based reactionary premise. You started making decisions. You started, and even when you talk to Vosh, poor Vosh. Okay, so Vosh.
Okay, stop, because we're gonna go through this one thing at a time. I don't know how I'm not even saying this to sound demeaning, but I don't know how I don't know how familiar you are with like having conversations like this. But you can't just steamroll me with 100 things right now. So let's.
That's fair. That's fair. This ain't my beat. You know what I'm saying?
So let's just try and go one by one. So you thought I was fantastic when I was on the right. Now that I have moved more to the center, hold on. When I was on the right, you said I have it.
I'm a
sir, excuse me.
I deal with chickens.
Sir.
I'm all for people. If they want to sell sex, go for it. So let's deal with this on the right shit.
Wait,
I'm sorry,
sir,
I know
please.
You're live.
Yeah. So you said that I was.
Not on the right. Okay, it's not like that.
You said that when I was on the right that you were proud of me and you thought I was fantastic. I have this written down here on my notes. So now you're saying I was motivated. Now your next argument is I was motivated by fear when I left the right. Okay. So
when you change your direction, yes, indeed, and you can call it leaving the right, whatever. Yes.
Okay. So can you explain to me how this was motivated by fear?
You were on the right.
Can you explain to me how this was motivated by fear? Just so you know, you're in very dangerous territory right now.
Why is that?
Because what you're doing right now, because you're trying to explain to me, yes, I'll tell you why. Because you are trying to explain to me my intentions. You're never going to be able to accurately explain that to begin with, and you're already so far off.
You're right, and I'm never going to be able to, and you can always just change whatever I say and say that's just not it. I get that, dude. I'm just talking about from an outside perspective. Your internal clock is always going to be yours.
Okay, so let's talk about
why. I did watch you say I was afraid. I did watch you say that. I'm only using the words that came out of your mouth.
So I'm not sure what specific parts you're talking about. Are you talking about when my channel was? Are you talking about when my channel was banned?
No. Well, I mean, I saw you got bothered by YouTube for a minute. I saw Twitter bothered you.
I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, that was when I was saying that, of course, I was a little scared. Like, that was my YouTube channel. That was how I was making money. I had a family. Yeah, of course I was a little scared. But hold on. Sir,
why I'm leaving the right. That's what it was. Why I'm leaving the right. That's the video I'm referencing.
Sir, excuse me, please.
Okay.
So you said that I was motivated by fear when I left the right. That's kind of what your argument was. You were even saying how you felt bad for Vosh or whatever. But that's not true. I was a little bit scared when my YouTube channel got banned. That's very different than from when I left the right. By the time I had left the right, By the time I had left the right, it had been well over a year since my channel had been banned. Okay, so it wasn't like I got scared and switched up my content really quick. It was obviously a slow and steady process behind the scenes. Now, I've said this before, I'll say it again. I recognize from an outside perspective, I don't make vlog content. You're not really that familiar with my life. It may have looked a little bit sudden, but we can go through together and look at the way my content has changed as my opinions on issues, specifically LGBT issues, have changed and shifted as well. So this argument that it was motivated by fear is not true. In fact, I would argue I was on antidepressant, anti-anxiety medication. So for the first time in my life, I wasn't motivated by fear. I was motivated by fear when I made mistakes like breaking up with Carissa. I was thinking clearly when I got back together with her and when I left the right eventually.
I 100% agree that breaking up and running, I agree that that was a mistake. You should never do that. I know it's hard.
I don't need the lecture. I appreciate it, sir. Please, sir, please.
Okay.
Could you please respond to what I said, sir, please?
Okay, let me get you've talked for a minute and you filibustered the situation. The video I'm very specific on, was Hunter Avalon, Why I Left the Right. It's a very popular video. Okay. In that video, you mentioned how you were afraid of the person you were turning into. You were afraid of the direction you were going. Those are your words, not mine. I've been in a place where I've been afraid before, so I understand the moment. But those were your words. And that's where I get my impression is from you saying I was afraid of the direction I was going.
Okay, sure. So I don't specifically, to be honest, I don't specifically remember saying that. I have my doubts that I said that. But let's just say
I just watched the video about 30 minutes ago. No offense. I just had to do my homework.
Okay, so let's just say for the sake of argument then, sure, that I said that. Me being afraid of who I was turning into or something is me more or less articulating retrospection and the way I was recognizing the direction that my content was leading people. For example, I've been pretty open about when I had the falling out with the alt-right, when I had the big tech censorship thing, how I was truthfully uncomfortable by how many people seemed to hold these radical beliefs that were fans of mine. So me saying I was afraid of who I was becoming or something, still that doesn't sound like something I would have said. But even if I did say that, that's still a far cry from, oh my God, I'm scared, so I'm going to switch up my political beliefs insincerely. That was me articulating retrospection. Introspection.
All right. All right. Okay, my turn, my go. Okay, yes. So Vosh, right? And I don't mean to bring it up. I'm not trying to throw salt in the wound. I just don't have another reference. I'm so sorry. Okay, so let me premise it with that. In that situation, because he's intellectual, dude, and he's a pseudo-intellectual with some really big words, and he'll cause mental gymnastics and mess with your sense. But here's the thing, dude. You just weren't prepared. You didn't know how to defend yourself. A lot of it comes, your earlier videos were kind of simplified and your Christian values and beliefs, and you didn't know how to confront all of these crazy Marxist ideologies that were being spread all over the place. And I get that, and I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that you didn't know how to defend it. You got afraid of the culture in itself. You got afraid of what you were, quote unquote, turning into. You were scared of being associated with supporters that you didn't want to be associated with. You had every opportunity to learn more. You can phrase it as
I was scared, but it was also that I was uncomfortable by it. It didn't align with my values. I didn't like it. I think it goes a little deeper than just I was scared. You keep trying to frame it as if it was like this pussified move on my part when that just wasn't the case. Second of all, when you're talking about my debate with Vosh, yeah, I didn't debate that well in that debate, but again, it wasn't like I lost a debate and then switched my beliefs the next day. That's not how it happened.
I didn't say that happened, so don't phrase it like that. Now, I'm not spinning it like that. I'm giving you a lot of credit, kid. Give me some, okay? Come on.
No, you're not. You're not giving me credit. You've come on here and you've claimed that I'm a grifter. You didn't back that up. You pivoted to a different point. We're now trying to stick on this, and then you're still trying to argue that I was just motivated by fear.
You said great. We understood what grifting was. I said it can be for more than monetary value.
Which I've already acknowledged, and I haven't gained anything from leaving the right.
That's cool. Again. Monetary value is not the only value in these things. But that's not the point. You did say it seemed like from an outside perspective, it went quick and it downhill. I mean, you acknowledged that that's how it
downhill.
Looked.
I said it did. It may have looked a little bit abrupt, but it may have looked abrupt also when I walked away from Christianity. Is there anything specifically now that you disagree with me on that you think I've been brainwashed by Vosh about?
Dude, I'm afraid I had to quit watching your channel because you just started saying crazy things. You started accusing people that are definitely not, or not even accusing. I'm not even going to say that word. That's not fair. So you started lamenting whether people could be neo-Nazis and crap like that. I mean, we all understand what that is. Richard Spencer is pretty much a neo-Nazi. That's the level of where you got to get to neo-Nazi. When you have other
But no,
people,
I would argue that that's not true, that you're setting the bar way too low. And maybe if you want to turn a blind eye to certain behavior and everything, I would argue even something that
watered down the words. They have watered down the word. See, I'm all for, because
Even
I
if
was
they
raised
water
this way,
down
right?
the words, it's still. Are you
Yes,
saying the neo-Nazis
they
watered
watered
down their
down the word.
words?
Well, they call, yes, because they
Okay, so
called
that still
regular
makes
people that
them.
support Trump Nazis. You saying that's not watering down the word Nazi?
Oh, you're watering down
We
the word
don't
Nazi.
understand
Is
that
what you're
Nazis were German
So
soldiers
who
that
did I
killed
accuse
people
of
and
being
forced
a
them into camps.
neo-Nazi that you disagreed with? Was it when I brought up no
It
bullshit?
was no, it was like the Lauren Chan mentioned. You're like, I'm just not sure if she's a neo-Nazi. You know, she's obviously not. She
So
might
what's
be
wrong
some
with me
far
saying
leaning.
I wasn't sure?
Well, here's the
Like
deal.
I said,
Because
I
you lumped
didn't
it into
know. Like people phrase that as if
that's
I'm
like
over here like Lauren Chen
no,
is
no.
a
That's
neo-Nazi.
changing
When instead I said I don't
that's
know if
changing
Lauren
the
Chen is a
Overton window.
neo-Nazi.
That is changing the Overton window. That is changing, and you shouldn't.
What did I say
You
that
were
was?
very comfortable
What's
with
wrong
them
with me
going
asking?
around
I
you.
did accuse her. Hold on. I did accuse her
Go
of
ahead.
being a fascist. And you know what? We just went over a clip where Lauren Chen more or less said that she no longer identifies with as being a conservative because she wants a revolution and she considers herself a Christian nationalist / populist. What do you think
Yes,
that sounds
I
like?
well, no, I absolutely understand that when it becomes all about nationalism, that potentially that can lead down a bad path too.
So, okay,
Here's
great.
the thing.
Wait, hold
I
on.
got
Wait, stop.
hold
Because
on,
that's
go
really
ahead.
important. Because you just agreed with me right there. I
No,
was calling
I
her
agree.
a fascist,
Nationalism.
and now she is showing very clear fascistic tendencies, giving fascistic rhetoric. I'm not saying for sure that she is a fascist. We can never know for sure, okay? But based on what she's saying, it certainly gives credence to that idea. So that was what I claimed, and I was correct in that claim.
There's a large element missing out of that makes it and classifies it as fascism. It's not race-based, institutionalized fascism. There is a real major difference between country origin. I don't
There
want
can be fascistic tendencies, and it doesn't always have to be a race. It could be an ethnicity. It could be another group of people. It could just be immigrants. There are various different fascistic tendencies. So no,
the pendulum swings.
when she says
No,
she
the
wants a
pendulum swings
revolution,
off.
when she says she believes there needs to be a revolution, when she talks about the disgusting degenerates out in the street, when she talks about being a
Yes,
Christian
there
nationalist
are
populist,
degenerates
that
in
sounds
the
like
street.
fascistic tendencies.
So, well, hold on. You call people degenerates. You called what you call it, Blair. What you call it? You call
Yeah,
her
I
a
call some
degenerate.
people
You use
degenerates,
the
but
word-
it's not. Hold on, it's not
hold on.
just
You know
degenerates by
the-
themselves. It's not just degenerates isolated. It's that on top
I'm
of her
just telling
talking
you.
about
Okay.
cultural degeneracy and using those other words that are a little code word for, I don't know. Sounds like she's getting at some.
How is that a code word? To say it's a cultural, so define
Okay, so
culture.
what's cultural degeneracy to you?
To degrade, to go downhill from the natural
So how
state
is it
of
going
things.
downhill?
How is it going down? Okay, so people not procreating on a level that's any kind of like proper. Like we have people going in entirely different direction. We have a huge abortion problem. Like you might as well call it the American genocide when it comes to abortion. I mean, we have all of these things going on right now that are anti-family, anti-being together as a culture. They're splitting us by race. They're splitting us by class. They're splitting us every way they possibly
All
can.
right, let's
They're
stop
splitting
here
us by
because I have.
gender.
Okay, hold on. So I have a couple
I'm
written
just
down.
saying.
Okay, so I have a couple written
That's a
down. People not reproducing, abortion, anti-family, splitting us by race. So
Right.
people not reproducing, why do you think that is?
They are being propagated to that being single, being all about yourself, taking and live
You
your
don't think
life
it has
to your-
anything to do with people
that's your
working
best
more?
life. Hold on, let me finish. Hold on. They're telling women get out there and work and everything. Women are the highest depressed new people out there.
Hold on.
Out of every 10 women
That's
are
another
on
descriptive
psychopharm-
claim that you're trying to use to make a
Okay.
prescriptive
Hold on.
argument.
But well, you can call it what you want to. It's what
Women
it
are
is.
more
It's
depressed,
reality.
but
You can-
so
you
are
can-
but
you
so
can
is
live-
everyone else. Whenever people enter the workforce, they
If
tend to
you
get more
label it into
depressed.
something you can dismiss, you don't pay attention to the reality of it.
I'm not dismissing anything, and I'm not.
You can't dismiss the consequences
No,
of reality.
I'm giving you nuance and context to the claim you just made. You're trying to argue that women starting to work is leading to more depression, and I'm telling you right now.
That's
You're saying depression rates among women. I'm sorry. You said depression rates among women are getting higher. We're the highest.
One of the factors. Yes, that's one
Yes,
of
and
the
that's
factors.
because of work. As women have entered the workforce, we've seen depression rates rise. Same with people
Okay, so
not
men are working
reproducing.
longer, but
More
only
people are
1 in
working.
10 men
People.
are depressed. Okay, only 1 in 10 men are depressed, 4 out of 10 women, and we've been
Well,
working
that's
at a
because
longer
women are
pace.
also,
We are
yeah,
having
sometimes
we work
women can tend to feel like are more in touch with their emotions oftentimes. Sometimes the ways that they're raised can lead to that. But still, how is people not reproduce? Hold on. You know what? Hold on. Wait. Stop. Because another thing I really quickly want to add is that if you want to fix this people not reproducing thing, there are various ways that we can go about that, okay? We can add stronger social safety nets, so maybe like a UBI or a way that people can have a little bit more money and be given a little bit more ability, although that doesn't really seem to work as much. Or what we could talk about
I don't
also.
want a UBI for anybody that's not having kids. I want you encouraged to have a family. We'll help you out all you want to if you want to encourage family. And see, and here's another
people
thing.
having more money doesn't always seem to fix the issue. So it might be better to work for expanding Medicare for all, not Medicare for all, I'm sorry, the Affordable Care Act. That can help because providing people with health insurance, right? That's something that Joe Biden wants to do, for example. That's a direct way that families will benefit.
Well, I do agree with public health insurance on a level. Like I said, I'm not on the right,
great.
dude. I am a Trump supporter, hands down. But and that's only because Einstein said it's better to vote for Trump. I can promise you.
Okay, so
because Einstein said that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing.
So what do you
over and
think
over
about
again.
Joe Biden?
He's a fucking idiot, dude. I can't believe somebody's gonna wipe his ass before he gets on a podium.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying?
So this is why this is the major disconnect here. Is you have issues, but the way that we fix them are by following more ideas in line with what I believe now, right? So if you're worried about, hold on. So if you're worried, yeah, I will gladly explain. Sir,
I cannot change.
Sir,
go ahead.
I would kindly explain this to you. So you're saying that cultural degeneracy is people not reproducing. Well, thankfully, when people have access to, hold on, please, sir, please, sir, please.
Well, don't pick me.
No,
understand the whole.
Because I haven't even been able to get like a full sentence in here. Just hold on a second. I'm explaining a solution to what you're saying is cultural degeneracy here. So Joe Biden is expanding the Affordable Care Act, something that Donald Trump cut. Donald Trump got rid of the mandate, which effectively killed the Affordable Care Act and harmed millions of Americans' ability to have health insurance. Okay? Joe Biden is expanding that. One can reason that when you have proper access and can afford medical care, you're more likely to be willing to have kids. So I think that that's a way that will help people to reproduce. Another thing that we can help if you're worried about people not reproducing is allowing more immigrants in. Immigrants tend to reproduce, and well, actually, no, it's not even about reproducing, just allowing more people into the country. They can further stimulate the economy and so on. So Joe Biden wants to expand the Affordable Care Act and, allow immigration to a certain degree, as do I.
No.
Both of these things would fix or go to fix people not reproducing.
All right, here you go. So for one, we saw what the Affordable Care Act promised and what it delivered, and that was a lie. And then
That's not true. There were millions of people that had health insurance from it. That's just not true.
Hold on. Let me finish. But there's millions of people that had health insurance before that lost it because of it. That's a fact, too. There's always a counter fact. And I'm not saying it didn't benefit some people, but I will tell you this, because I've been poor for a long time. So I understand what it's like to be poor. All right? So they fixed my little girl. They spent $318,000 saving my child's life. So I love them to death for it. But let me tell you what there didn't have to be. That was before the Affordable Care Act. You know what I mean? When you're poor,
did you have medical debt?
People are under a misconception that, hold on, let me finish. People are under a misconception that they don't take care of you when you're poor. Immediately when you get food stamps, you qualify for medical aid immediately. And that's even if you're a singular.
I understand that, and that's great. I'm glad that you had.
Who needs the help is the poor.
That's not true. Hold on. That's not true because this is the issue is the middle class is what keeps getting left behind here. So you're right that people who are, excuse me, sir, please.
Go ahead.
You're right that poor people get access to welfare and then get access to Medicaid and so on. But the problem is the middle class oftentimes lacks that because they're right in that weird situation where they're not rich enough to afford healthcare, where they still are risking medical debt, but they're also not poor enough where they qualify for Medicaid. So that is why, for example, we're seeing the middle class shrinking, right? So It's
Right.
not
Now,
just
that is one
so
of
if I
the
could
reasons.
just
I'll
add
agree
really
with that.
quickly,
One
of
of
course,
the reasons.
so sir, if of course there are going to be unintended consequences for anything really, but Joe Biden expanding the Affordable Care Act is going to provide medical insurance for people in the middle class also, people who do need it still, and that is going to lend to people reproducing. That on top of allowing immigrants in to keep our economy afloat and keep the population of America growing.
Well, I'll tell you what, I challenge anybody to go to DuckDuckGo and look up what the Affordable Care Act the first time around did to the middle class, because it sure hurt them. But I do agree something needs to be done about the medical system because they are extortionists on the highest level.
So what do you think should be done?
Well, I think things like cancer ought to get automatic coverage. I don't think anybody going through cancer, because I believe that there's a lot of things we do to contribute to those things because we add unnatural things into our environment a lot. Now, granted, some of that has prolonged our life, but at the same time, the toxicity damages some people. I think the government should cover cancer right away. I think long-term side things, anything that's like, oh, well, this guy got hit by a car, he'll be in a coma for life. We don't need to put that on all of his.
So you're talking about
relatives.
like pre-existing conditions almost, right?
Some
Which was something the Affordable Care Act was helping people with, that, if I'm not mistaken, Donald Trump got rid of. But okay.
I don't need nothing like that. This ought to be automatic coverage for every American.
I agree with that too. Yeah, I think that people should have automatic coverage. But it's just that you're saying that people are not reproducing, and that's cultural degeneracy. So, and now we have two fixes here to it.
Over a million babies aborted a year. Not necessarily every year.
Hold on.
Those
okay, you know what? I guess that's in reproducing enough. All right, we can keep that under the guise of reproduction then. Sure.
Because, well, it's just the thing of, like, there's no long-term results out of the reproduction, right? Because they kill it. So, therefore, I mean, we lose what? On average, I'll even go low numbers, 650,000 a year. And that's low numbers, right? I'm sure you.
Well, that is, yeah, thankfully, here's the one like crux to your argument here that you're lacking is you're talking about cultural degeneracy going downhill. Abortion rates have been steadily decreasing, right? So your argument would be helped if abortion rates were suddenly skyrocketing.
Suddenly decrease, and they don't count the morning after pill when they talk about that. When they talk about that,
you consider the morning after pill to be like abortion?
Well, yeah, well, you know, peaks and valleys, but they still don't. If it kills a kid, it kills a kid. What do we think? I mean, you know,
well,
can you debate that?
With the available, okay, well, I'm sorry, but with the available statistics that we have available, abortion rates have been declining. So we can talk about abortion. I believe I'm against abortion. Great. I consider myself pro-life. I want there to be less abortion, but we're seeing it decrease. So that does not lend to cultural degeneracy, my friend.
That does not lead to cultural degeneracy. Okay.
No. So that does not lend to your argument of cultural degeneracy. Okay. It's declining.
Right. So I don't agree with that because it gives sexual degeneracy freedom without consequence. That's
so what you're advocating for is abstinence. What you're advocating for is almost abstinence training, which doesn't even work.
I am absolutely not. I love all the birth control. Good for the birth control. Have more birth control because most of y'all are stupid anyway. So, like, have more birth control. But
I can send you this article right here from Guttmacher Institute. The U.S. abortion rate continues to drop. Once again, state abortion restrictions are not the main driver. So let's see.
Well, let me ask you, what year was that? Because if you're talking about during COVID, I imagine so.
Let's see. This was between 2011 and 2017. The number of abortions fell by 196,000. A 19% decline. That's fantastic.
Out of what? What's still the aggregate number? So I gave 650,000.
A 19% decline from 1,058,000 from 1.58 million abortions in 2011 to 862,000 abortions in 2017.
I said 650, the most conservative number I could think, and I was way off. There's still more.
Okay, but
arguing about semantics.
No, I'm not arguing with semantics. I'm arguing that this does not prove your point that this is cultural degeneracy because we're seeing abortion rates go down.
You will let me develop my point. You understand? I said 650,000.
Then just make your point, please.
On that. 650,000. And it was about the cultural degeneracy leading to population decline and overall degeneracy, period. But anyways, so sex without consequence means that you go out and you do stupid things over and over again. Okay.
This is wrong, by the way.
You're all right. No,
I just thought I'd let you. I just thought I'd let you know that you're wrong. But if you want to keep talking,
you am not wrong.
Yeah, you are. In fact, there are literal studies. Hold on. There are literal studies that. Sir.
No,
there are literal. Sir. There are literal
women,
studies that show that when women have access to birth control, for example, we see abortion rates go down because the main reason for abortions is unplanned pregnancies. So if you're worried. Abortion does not give women the ability to just like run around and be free and sex like sluts or whatever. Like you can make that argument way stronger with birth control, but we see a decline from abortions.
No, it absolutely gives them the opportunity, just that, because these work-minded women would not roll the dice with some random sexual encounter to destroy their future if there was a consequence. So that's untrue what you said.
So your cult. Okay.
I live in the real
wait.
world. Okay,
you don't understand how.
No, I've been around. I've seen these things in my life, and I've watched the culture fall. So it's not like this ain't something you can't see. I mean, you literally have drag queen story hour in libraries.
Oh my God, you are pivoting like mad. This is insane. No, we're talking about abortion. I'm keeping you on one topic right now because you're jumping all around.
Societal degeneration, period. And that I stand where I stand, that does lead to degeneracy. I've put out my point. You don't agree? Great.
So here you go right here. So we want to talk about abortion, right? You said that was cultural degeneracy. Now we're talking about why it's happened. Why is it declining, right? And here's a great article that explains it. One possible contributing factor is contraceptive access and use. Since 2011, contraceptions have become more accessible as most private health insurance plans are now required by the ACA to cover contraceptives without out-of-pocket costs. So as we can see from right here, thanks to Democrat policies, thanks to policies that Donald Trump tried to cut and Joe Biden is now reinstating, we're seeing a decline in abortion because women and...
If he would have wanted that part cut out, he'd have had it cut out because he had whatever he wanted cut out of there.
I don't know what you're saying and I don't care because my point is very clearly proven right here. You're saying that without a consequence, women are... If I'm not mistaken...
in the Affordable Care Act.
Gotcha. So if I'm not mistaken, I thought that you said that when there's no consequences, women will just go out and sleep around. So are there consequences when you have birth control?
This is an obvious situation.
So there's no consequences. There's a 99.9% chance there won't be consequences if the woman's on birth control, correct?
You're changing the argument. I'm not.
No, I'm not. I'm literally steel manning your argument and explaining why it's still wrong.
I mean, damn. Oh, you make me cuss. I'm sorry. I'm trying not to.
You can curse on here. It's fine.
Oh, I can. Okay. Well, I won't get crazy, but I appreciate that. So, like, look. Here's the thing. That's garbage. I'm not trying to stop their choice from sleeping around. I'm trying to stop their choice from killing a kid. That's what I'm trying to stop. And yes, it does, because it's a fail-safe. It's a fail-safe. Let me tell you what.
So you're a Jesse Lee Peterson fan. I got it. So before you start pivoting on your big, long conspiracy theory tangent or whatever.
Do not conflate me with some radical to dis. All
right, I'm sorry. It's just that's his slogan, so forgive me for misinterpreting that.
Dude,
but
please. I said sleep with who you want. Don't kill a kid. I literally said that repeatedly.
So what do you think? Okay, great. So I agree. So what do you think the best way to prevent people from getting pregnant would be?
You know what? Getting pregnant, dude, I hope they don't. I mean, how can we educate them even more? I mean, we give them access to many things. I just want to take the fail-safe. You tell me how many fighter jets would get in the cockpit of a fighter jet if they didn't have an eject button.
So let me ask you a better question. Aside from the fighter jets, when we're talking about women not having consequences, if I'm not mistaken, that was a rough version of what you said, is that women are sleeping around because they don't have consequences. They have this safety net. Couldn't you argue, wouldn't a stronger argument be that even having protection would also give women the ability to sleep around because there's very little likelihood that they're going to face any consequences then either?
No, because of risk management principle. Women are risk management oriented. True or false? You've studied these things.
I genuinely don't know how to answer that, and I don't think it's necessary. Please explain your point.
So here's the thing. They're risk management oriented. They will not play odds. More men gamble than women. They don't like playing odds. Even the smallest odds intimidate them to a factor. Now, will a high percentage do dumb? Absolutely.
So you want to via legislation, and you just, okay. So I don't know if what you're saying is true or not, but it doesn't really matter because there's a very clear solution to fixing the abortion decline, and that is providing more contraception. The only problem is your argument being that women are risk management and then they're not going to make decisions, blah, blah, blah. You could have made the same argument about contraceptions. And you know what? I'm pretty sure people have in the past. Oh, well, if women are able to just not get pregnant, there won't be any consequences and they'll all be sluts. Like this is such a ridiculous argument that is much better. I didn't say that you said this verbatim, my dude. I'm just explaining generally how your argument sounds and where it leads. So I'm explaining that a better direction and a better way to solve this is to instead support Democrat policies like the ACA, support policies that are going to lead to more contraception access and a decrease in abortion rates.
There is already a lot of contraception access. I mean, I'm not trying to knock you, but I've slept with quite a few in my lifetime, and getting protection is not a difficult. That's not
maybe part of the problem. Maybe not. Maybe it hasn't been for you because it's easy to just pick up a condom. But when it comes to actually getting pills and birth control, the Affordable Care Act has helped in providing more contraceptions because they can cover out-of-pocket costs.
No, dude, you used to be able to go down to the little community thing.
Oh my God. Oh my fucking God. I don't care that you used to be. No, stop. Because I don't care that you used to be able to go down to the local gas station and pick up a goddamn condom for 25 cents. I don't give a fuck about this. We're talking about broad statistics of people, and we need to look at the way to solve that most effectively. Now, you told me that abortion was cultural degeneracy, but not only are abortion rates steadily decreasing rather than rising, but the way that we fix them is actually by supporting policies that I now support, that you are claiming more or less that I'm a grifter for believing these things.
Rates are coming down. You're attributing it to some Democrat policies, which Democrat are kill kids.
No, I'm not doing it. This study is. That's all. I mean, what do you want, dude?
Not at all. Dude, you're talking about the ADA is going to give more birth control. Trump didn't take away the birth control.
Donald Trump tried to cut the ACA, and they did. If I'm not mistaken, he seriously damaged it. He got rid of the mandate, if I'm not mistaken, and that was what was keeping it alive because they needed the funding for that. I don't have a great understanding of it, but I know I can read right here the way that it's helped.
The first day he got in office, he changed Trump's law that made insulin prices cheap as all get out, dude.
Dude, I'd have to look into that because so far everything else you've said has just been wrong. So
insulin prices. Boom, look it up. You've looked up.
So I'm almost it's almost to the point where I'm not even sure what we're arguing about at this point. So you want there to be.
We were just actually bullshitting and we started talking about subjects and we picked one and we went down that road.
Right. You wanted to you want to decline abortion rates, and I'm giving you a solution right here that is borne out in numbers. The way that abortion rates have declined.
But that's another thing too. More women are pro-life now than they have been in a long time. The feminist movement, the feminist agenda shifted in such a direction, it became so unpalatable that more women are not listening to their rhetoric. So
that's
there is
not
that
true.
Too.
This is a common argument that's used by people like you to try and take credit for Democrat policies that are playing a role here. I know. Don't have sex. Don't have sex. That's what you think you can scream abstinence or whatever. But no, we have actual numbers here, and we know that what's contributing to it. Another possible contributing factor could be a decline in sexual activity. Infertility is also increasing. So it seems that some of these things might not be quite as related to policy as the ACA. Which, they're also,
men is cultural degeneracy too.
So if
you hadn't made it to that point.
So
I
if
mean,
you'd
if you
like,
want
I
to
can
talk
send
about
you.
that,
So if
that's
you'd
great.
like, I can send you a more isolated study also that shows that when just women have access to free contraception, we see abortion rates go down. Because again, we know the driving force behind why women get abortions. So it makes sense that
This conversation,
preventing
did
an
you not
unplanned
hear me say I'm all
preventing
for all the folks, all the
preventing an
protection they
unplanned
can
pregnancy
possibly
would be the logical solution.
they can wear a suit of armor. I mean, like, what part? You're arguing protection, dude. I am for protection. Have said that so many times now, and you're still arguing it.
I'm arguing it
I mean,
because
how
you're against
ridiculous.
the ACA and you're saying that I'm like brainwashed for believing some of these things, but I'm
You
explaining to you
changed it to the
policies.
ACA. I'm against abortion. You brought up the ACA. I wasn't like the ACA. I didn't give up
Okay,
what
so
the
do you
hell
want to
they
move
do.
on? Okay,
Most
fine. So do
politicians
you
are
want to
lying bastards.
Okay, great. So do you want to go ahead and move on from this then? Do we want to just go ahead and concede that abortion rates are declining and the best way to more or less contribute to that is providing contraception? And you also said better education, which is true.
Contributing to the degeneracy of the culture.
Before we get to the degeneracy and the culture and everything else, we need to first make sure we're conceding these points, okay? So let's go ahead and concede and conclude the people not reproducing. The best solution that there seems to be there is Joe Biden expanding the ACA and immigration, and abortion rates are declining.
I'm not going to concede a damn thing. I want, I hope that they quit having abortion. I mean, however they get there, I don't give up. If they want to put a postage stamp over their kunana, that's great. I don't care how it gets there. If
you just said that,
great. A broken clock is right twice a day. I mean, I think that's fantastic. I don't give a damn about that. I give a damn about the rest of the crazy. They have went insane. They're pushing policies that are insane and anti-American. He destroyed energy independence. He canceled the pipeline, thousands of jobs. I mean, if you want to talk about Biden, there's so much we can talk about that's not good.
We're not moving to Biden. We're going to stick to the cultural degeneracy argument because you listed out what you consider cultural degeneracy.
Let's stick to it. The feminization of men. We can move to that one if you want.
Well, you also said anti-family. You also said anti-family.
What? So do that one if you want.
Let's talk about anti-family. What's anti-family? I want to talk about that one.
What's anti-family?
Well,
they're literally telling them to not have children, live your best life. Have you not watched any of these? The culture of feminism, as if, and please don't pretend they don't produce messages because you used to talk about their messages, so you're going to deny your own reality. So try not to do that.
No, I'm just wondering how this is anti-family. Like, I think that more or less the goal there is.
So you're saying feminism is not anti-family? Feminism's not anti-family? That's what you're saying?
There are probably feminists that are anti-family or say dumb shit like how marriage is a patriarchal institution, blah, blah, or something like that. I don't know. But like
8 principles women, whatchamacallit, that they passed out of their women's organization.
Generally speaking, from at least on like the good side of feminism, we usually see this encouragement not to be anti-family, but rather to pursue your own goals. Not every woman has a goal to have a family. Some women want to pursue their career, and that's okay, and they should have the freedom to do that. But also, women having the ability to have a family, that should also be celebrated, and that also is okay. And many times it is. Usually, what we're seeing here is a push for like women just pursuing their goals, more or less.
Wow. Okay. Well, there's plenty of video evidence out there to disprove that understanding. So all of a sudden now feminism doesn't push agendas, and you think feminism's pro-family. Let's get that straight. You think feminism's pro-family?
I don't know. I would have to look into it. I'm not really too well read up on my feminism, in all fairness. I think that there are definitely some feminists that are anti-family, but I don't think it's fair to be just say all feminism is anti-family. Is it even? I mean, I was wondering too if you're going to bring in some gay stuff to the anti-family side of things too, because because I think a great way a great way that we can help there be more families also is to encourage gay people to continue to adopt. Gay people, since they can't reproduce, they're able to they adopt.
I think a lot of people need to adopt. I think we need to expand a lot of people to adoption. But I do think we need to like make a charge of like pedophilia, some kind of monstrous let's take them out in the street, beat them with a bat. I don't know. But like we need to make the pedophilia a greater crime, in my opinion. But yeah. Yeah, let anybody
Okay,
who,
I'm
fits
pretty
the
sure that
qualifications love
pedophilia
it.
is pretty stigmatized and criminalized in this
Whatever.
country.
Care if you call it
And
stigmatized
also,
or
it's a
whatever.
little weird that you went from gay people to
Okay,
pedophilia
there's
right away.
plenty of numbers out there.
So you're cool with
I said,
gay adoption then?
hold on, do not twist my words. I said we need to expand many people being able to, and then I mentioned the pedophilia because I thought to myself, well, we don't want no Catholic priest.
That's fair.
Adopting
That's
kids.
fair. But
So,
you,
like,
so okay. Well,
I
as
was
long
not
as
actually
we're,
speaking to any gay folks.
so I'm trying to find common ground then too. So you're cool with them with
I
gay
grew up in
people.
the '90s, dog. There was gay folks everywhere. I didn't give a damn. You know what?
Good.
More
So you're
power
cool
to
with gay
gay
people
dudes.
adopting then?
Yeah, I'm cool with that. But here's what I thought, man. When I was growing up in the '90s and I saw the gay culture coming up, I was like, this is fucking great. All them dudes can, because it leaves me all the women in the world. So, like, the more dudes that was gay, the more women was available. And this is how I did all that math. And it seemed to work out.
So let's see. I don't really know if you can even make the argument that this is because of feminism, because in 2014, there was the record share of Americans have never married, and men were actually more likely to not be married.
Well, okay. Men are probably too scared to marry because of how the judicial system is definitely targeted in not their favor. The marriage for men, it doesn't necessarily, the contract doesn't work out, as in if you look at like, oh, well, my future and money and stuff like that. If that's how you're judging everything, contract doesn't work out. I believe it's all a spiritual battle when it comes between men and women. And I don't necessarily believe that I think it's all like, it's bigger than anything like me or you can sit around and talk about. So, but
You think,
nonetheless,
wait,
I mean,
I may have missed that. A spiritual war between what?
A spiritual battle, between like a good and evil sort of thing. Because I totally believe the left is 100% evil. So, like,
I understand that you think that, but so far, like, it seems like everything that you're against, the left has like played a role in helping, at least thus far.
No,
I mean, even when you talk about the criminal, even when you talk about the justice system, even when you talk,
they don't help abortion.
Sir?
Hunter, there is nothing you can say that says the Democrats help with stopping abortion.
Actually, that's not true. That's literally false. I can hold on, stop, because I can literally send you an article right now showing that when there are Democrat presidents, we see marginal decreases in abortion because Democrats tend to expand access once again to contraceptions. So no, that's not true. However, it would be a little dishonest to make it out to be just the president. The president doesn't really do that much with abortion rates.
To a specific targeted action. You cannot take just a circumstance of the legislation and attribute it to a targeted action. There are no Democrats sitting around talking about how do we stop aborting babies. Zero. Zip. That is a false.
Do you know that for sure?
On your part in any reality can disprove that.
Okay, so when you talk about, first you're talking about that, right? Okay. Oh my God. So when you talk about the criminal justice system also being like biased towards men, right?
Sorry state of affairs.
It is. It's very sad. Part of that is because there is bias against men, yes. And some of that is actually because of biases that people hold towards men, and also because of a lot of the times men are raised. Men are taught very often that being more aggressive and being violent is a way to show masculinity, right? But those ideas are oftentimes...
We have changed legislation and made laws that make being masculine by nature illegal. Two men cannot go out and have a fist fight.
I'm sorry, you're going to have to substantiate that one. Where are the laws that has made masculinity illegal? Help me, please, sir.
Okay, because they will throw two men. Okay, perfect example is in the school system. If you fight back against your bully, you get expelled.
Dude,
if you
what? Okay, so one, this has nothing to do with laws. Two, that's how it's always been because you're retaliating, and usually the person that retaliates that gets in trouble. You can even see this happen in sports games. This has nothing to do with what you just said in legislation. Holy shit, dude.
That is just a start.
Once again, you notice how you told me that I was the one that's like crazy, but this entire conversation, you're the one who sounds insane, and I actually have like very reasonable and logical solutions to everything that you've complained about thus far? Have you found that interesting at all?
Cannot get into a fight without both of them catching a charge.
Okay, cool. So I would like to go through this really quickly. I just want to get back to what... Hold on, please, sir. Please, sir. Sir, excuse me, sir, please. I have a question really quickly. I would like to get back to this, please. When you're talking about there being bias towards men in our criminal justice system, oftentimes we see,
well, you brought it up,
oftentimes, you brought it up first, and I'm now trying to respond to it.
What?
Oftentimes we see this happen because men are oftentimes socialized to believe that they have to exert strength or viciousness or violence or rage or whatever. Oftentimes men are taught this way, that this is a sign of masculinity. And also men are oftentimes told that, excuse me,
that has
also,
been
excuse
substantiated
me,
from a
sir,
young age.
sir,
Men
excuse me,
punch
sir.
each other, women down each other's character from nature, from a young age. This is easy to find.
This is not from nature, okay? Men are oftentimes, because men are socialized this way oftentimes, and we've seen this change throughout history also.
Who was it that taught the caveman or the hunter or the guy? Before we had stoves, right?
That's not the same as showing aggression and putting that up with masculinity. And also, you didn't even let me finish my point either. So men are oftentimes socialized not only to be more violent and aggressive, but also that they can't healthily express their emotions, right? They're not oftentimes able to. You've probably heard the cliche one that, like, men are oftentimes shamed for crying, if you think about it. Like, if a man is crying, it's oftentimes grow up, be a man, stop being a girl, that kind of shit.
Because here's the thing, we're not supposed to be hurt by scrapes because we are the protectors.
So this right here is what I mean. This, hold on, it's that attitude right there that, hold on, sir, please, because you just said something that was very stupid, sir, and I must respond now, sir. Sir?
Answer the question. It's a simple question. Who is physically stronger and who is made to take the brunt of physical stress?
I mean, women oftentimes do childbearing. That's a really huge physical stressor on women. So I don't know. There are different contexts there. But either way, it does. Excuse me, sir.
Please don't. There are a ton of women that'll tell you that they don't even take the drugs to do the childbirthing, okay? Because they're tough. All right? I get that.
So doesn't that disprove what you just said?
Physical labor, stamina, muscle, the length of time working, all of that is attributed to men. That is a strength.
So I'm not denying that men are stronger? Excuse me, sir.
Right. That is masculine trait. You can't take away trait.
I understand. Okay, you're going to get muted. Please, just let me respond. For God's sake, I never made the argument that men are not stronger. I said that oftentimes men are socialized to be more aggressive and violent. And also that men are socialized and taught, that they cannot express emotions in a healthy way. This, however, is harmful to men, and that's called toxic masculinity. And that's something that people like me, people on the left, try to address, because we recognize that by getting rid of those biases, by fixing some of the ways that we teach men to be masculine, we can actually fix other issues like the criminal justice system having a bias towards men. Notice how I'm able to give really logical, holistic solutions to your so-called cultural This is not mental gymnastics. This is called following a logical train of thought.
Oh, please. Oh, no. There's a lot of you don't understand the way life actually works that's missing from your train of thought that would constitute better logical understandings of reality. Okay? So you're sitting here.
Wait, you accused Vosh earlier of trying to, like, sound smart, but what you just said, I'm pretty sure was like a bunch of bullshit just meant to sound smart.
Cool. And that's fine. Cool.
Do you use big words sometimes to help you photosynthesis?
Here's what it is, okay? Bottom line. You sit there and you call things like, you call things that are generated from testosterone, which is a chemical in men that is produced in men more than women. So let's see, if you put gasoline in a car, it's going to go. But if you put water in the gas tank, you've screwed up. You understand? So gasoline makes the car go. Testosterone tends to make men more aggressive, more territorial. These things are all, I mean,
so
just
there
look
can
it up.
be some, I'm not denying that.
So
there can be, sir, there can be some.
Take out the testosterone because that's a masculine thing.
That's not what I'm saying.
What offer the chemicals of men? I
That
mean,
is not
okay,
what
and
I'm
women
saying,
did it.
sir. Please, can I respond
And
now? Because you've said a lot of
masculinity
dumb
from
shit
what?
that you're not letting me
Oh
respond
no,
to.
bullshit. And toxic masculinity from what? We went from a time when
This
women
isn't
didn't have the vote. Hold on. When we went from a time when women didn't have the vote, but even in that time, you didn't spit in front of a lady, you didn't cuss in front of a lady, you opened doors for a lady. Okay, that was men who were very, very masculine men. They killed with their hands, right?
And we
That were
literally saw
very,
more spousal
very,
abuse and spousal rape back then too.
we saw
But
that
great
a lot.
argument, buddy. I can also send you some studies that men who are raised to be more traditional and see women
No,
as like lesser and inferior are also
and
more likely to abuse women. But again, that would probably be quote unquote mental gymnastics. Listen, I feel like we've gone over as much of this as we are possibly going to be able to. You've said that there's cultural degeneracy. I don't agree with you, but we've now gone over everything except the splitting by race thing, which I'm not about to get into a big race discussion with you. And I've explained how, yeah, I've explained how
we need more race. Matter of fact, I'm hoping one of my daughters gets with like a Japanese guy that works 80 hours a week, and then their kid gets with like a black dude, and then once that happens,
that's
I'll
great.
have like
But I've explained how every single premises you've laid out here that
you've
so I've explained how everything that you've called cultural degeneracy is able to be fixed and ameliorated by policies that are more left or center left, where I fall on the political spectrum, and you the entire time have sounded like a crazy person. I just have to listen. Final words. Okay, go ahead. I'll let you go first, and then I'll get the final word. Go ahead.
No, I don't really have no final words. Listen, here's the thing, bro. I hope you get sane one day.
Yeah,
I understand. And
yep, I'm the one who's insane. I got it, buddy. I'm so crazy right now. Hey, listen, your name is The Kids Are Broken, but the only one who's broken here is you. Okay? Bye. Oh, God. I can't. I just can't do it. Okay. Well, that was a fun one. This video was made possible by the generous support from my patrons. If you want to help support the channel, get cool benefits, and have your name featured on my channel, then become a patron by clicking the link down below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click the bell so you get notified when I drop a new video.